You were listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and this is Toronto Maple Leafs Elimination Day, sponsored by Breaking the Ice. I've got two lovely guests with me today. We got on mic 2, AJ Chasan himself. Actually, no, he's on mic 3. AJ, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. How we doing? Leafs Elimination Day, and the Devils will extend the series tomorrow.
On mic 2 over here, we got Matteo Macolino making his Breaking the Ice debut. Matteo, how's it going?
It's going good. Happy to be here.
Now, I gotta test one thing out real quick. So, you guys, let's just talk about. Let's get right into it right here. We're in the thick of the playoffs, and I think at this point we can clearly tell there's one series that's gonna end tonight. I brought it up. It's Leafs Elimination Day, everybody. Happy last day of Toronto. Let's just get a little foghorn going for them there. So, I personally believe Cats in 4. Cats in 4. You know what I'm saying? But before we talk hockey, what is the final time, AJ, on this experiment we ran before the show?
So we ran an experiment throughout the entire semester on, let's say, person A and person B, right? And to see how long that they'd say talk in a specific class. Let's just say the total time spent talking, 1 hour, 58 minutes, and 44 seconds, with a total average of exactly 8 minutes per class.
So those are the final numbers. If we had the clap sound effect here, but we don't have it, so we're gonna give him a nice little Lil Jon moment there. So we're gonna move on now. So back to the hockey scheme of things, boys. We are in the second round, and we've seen some solid second round play this playoffs. First round is, in my opinion, better than the second round has been thus far. We've had some blowouts here and there. I feel like it's weird because the only series that has had good games, I feel, so far is legitimately Florida-Toronto, but Florida's won all of them. So, like, the series is a blowout, but the games have been close, whereas, Devils-Canes has had 4 blowouts. And even Dallas is playing Seattle. That series has also been 4 blowouts. Well, first game was an overtime win. Second game wasn't a blowout. The last 2 have been blowouts. So that's a pretty solid series thus far to keep your eye on. And as far as Vegas-Edmonton goes, they are 3 games deep thus far, and the last 2 have been 5-1 blowouts. So we're going to start it off with Cats-Lightning because I just want to get it. We're going to get it out the way. Florida took down Boston, obviously, and now they've won 3 straight games. The Toronto Maple Leafs have still not won a second-round playoff game since 2004. And will they win one this year, guys?
I want to have you go first on this one. What do you think? Do you think they win tonight or no?
Honestly, I don't think they win tonight. Florida's just been overall like the better team this series. They've had a lot of close games, but they've been more physical, I think. And I mean, look at Toronto's track record with the playoffs. I just don't think they make it out of this one alive.
See, we're gonna sound like like a homer here. See, Ilya Samsonov's hurt, right? He's out we don't know how long he's going to be back. Matt Murray is now back, right? He's healthy. Why is he not starting tonight? He's a 2-time Stanley Cup winning goaltender. He's been there, done that. I get it. Joseph Woll, the rookie, he's been okay as a netminder, right? Okay. And when you're down 3-0, backs against the wall, he needs to be starting. He needs to be starting. And the fact that he's not is telling me Sheldon Keefe is in a mental pretzel right now. He can't believe his team is down 3. He's down 3-0.
Are you talking about how Wall was getting the start?
Yeah.
I feel like
terrible.
Yeah, honestly.
Terrible.
So
it's terrible.
Play a game. Which mic sounds better, this one or this one? Oh, this one. This one definitely.
Yeah.
Not a doubt.
Absolutely that one.
So I feel like with Wall, he actually played good in that start.
I'm not saying he's bad, but like when your team's down 3-0 and you have a 2-time Stanley Cup goaltender on the bench, he needs to be in between the plays.
I hear what you're saying there, yeah.
And he's not, which is showing me Sheldon Keefe. He's lost a grip. He's in a mental pretzel. His team is just it's completely falling apart with Ilya Samsonov being out. Matthew Nyes finally coming back from a concussion.
Yeah,
but, like,
he got. I think Bennett took care of Bennett. Bennett took him to the ground
I was like,
there.
he's coming back, but other than that, like, it's not great.
No goals from Marner, Tavares, Matthews in this series.
Don't be shocked if Toronto gets bum rushed.
I listen. I might be the homer here
Don't be
as a
shocked
Cats
they get.
fan,
Don't be shocked if they get blitzed tonight.
but they have won 6 straight playoff games. They won 3 straight against Boston to come back in that crazy series. They've won the first 3 against Toronto. First game, they've only given up 2 goals in every game. Like, that's pretty solid, I'd say. From Sergei Bobrovsky's been godlike. Like, the defense is on one, and the offense, they've just been clutch. They won a game in overtime, and they've scored. They just have the upper hand. They just scored the extra goal that they've needed to win the games. And I'm fully confident they will make the Eastern Conference Finals at this point, because why wouldn't you be if your team's up 3-0? You know what I'm saying? Like, a team has only come back from a 3-0 deficit, like, once, and it was that Sharks-Kings series. And I'm sure there's more, but, like, it never happens. I'm confident they can win tonight. They're rolling better than ever. Everyone's just scoring. Everybody's scoring. Carter Verhaeghe, Duclair even scored a goal after he's had a rough season with the ACL injury, Achilles. I forget it was Achilles or ACL. But, Carter Verhaeghe, yeah, Alex Barkov. Matthew Tkachuk is, like, the best player on the ice. Straight up.
I honestly think Duclair's actually been the best player for Florida.
He did. He scored a nasty goal. A game. I forget. It was game 2, game 3. Game 3. Yeah.
Duclair's been like on fire. I just think Florida's a faster team. They're just all over the place, and yeah, Toronto just needs to apply a little more pressure, I think, defensively, because
and your stars have to produce. Cause,
exactly.
Like, there's been no goals from. Yeah, I said Matthews, Marner, Tavares in this whole entire series.
That's exactly why. I mean, look at the Devils. Like, why, pains me to say, but none of their stars have been producing, and this is why they're down a 3-1 hole right now.
So with the Cats possibly on their way to the Eastern Conference Finals tonight, I think they win the game 4-2.
I think they win the game 5-1.
Oh.
I don't think it's going to be close.
I think it'll be a little close. Maybe like it'll be 3-2 up until Toronto pulls their goalie, and then maybe a 4-2 with an empty netter.
With an 4-2 with an empty netter. Okay, that was the game 1 script. I'm pretty sure that was legitimately how game 1 went. I think it was 3-2. They with the empty net, and Reinhart scored a off the boards empty netter from the back end. It's been a 6 series thus far. I think this is like the greatest thing for me. You know, it's a 42-win team that takes down the 65-win team, and then the quote-unquote the 50-win Toronto Maple Leafs. You know what I mean? Even though they're Toronto and they have the meme of never winning second-round games and never even making it there, like, it's still like crazy to me. You know, I feel like that's the biggest Cinderella in the whole thing right now. Seattle's a close second, but I don't know. I'd take theirs as a little less of a Cinderella story.
No, it's pretty crazy, especially because like last year you have Florida.
They were the President's Trophy team,
Trophy, but then get swept in the second round. So
but this is even better, bro. They take out the President's Trophy team, and now they're gone farther.
It's a nice redemption, I think.
Dude, last year it's a way better redemption because last year they were supposed to be great, right? And they win 4 playoff games, and that was it. This year they've already gone farther than they did last year. They've won 7 now. Paul Maurice has won more playoff games than any Panthers head coach since '96. Like, literally. And all the fans hated him at the beginning of the year and like throughout the season. They're quickly jumping the train now, turning around, because the team just clicked right when they had to. And I think, are we all legitimately thinking cat sweep here?
Yes.
Cat sweep here.
Definitely, I think so.
So, yeah, Florida, shout out you guys. Matthew Tkachuk's a stud. Ordered his jersey off DHgate. I think they're gonna make some noise. This is the year they make some noise, but we're gonna keep moving on to the other side of the Eastern Conference, the Metropolitan Division Finals. So the Metro Finals, we got the Devils and the Carolina Hurricanes.
Hey, yo!
And we have had a bloodbath in all the wrong ways. Blowout, 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 blowout. So after the first 2 games, Carolina's up 2-0, but that didn't stop the Devils from coming back against the Rangers. So, Matteo, as the Devils fan, what have you liked and disliked from this series thus far? I know there's going to be more dislikes because they're down 3-1, But Game 3 was pretty cool. So let me know what you've thought and what you see going forward.
Yeah, as far as likes, there's not that many likes this series, at least, to begin with. Game 3, it was nice to see their offense finally pick it up and score 8 goals. But at the same time, you let up 4 goals. So, and 3 of them were shorthanded. So, like...
3 of them were shorthanded?
Yeah, game 3, there were 3 shorthanded goals.
Wait, like, so y'all were on the power play?
Yeah.
That's what a shorthanded goal means.
No, I know. I thought you meant, like, I couldn't tell if you meant, like, the Devils were shorthanded and they got scored on the power play.
No.
Like, the Canes scored 3
exactly.
shorties. Wow.
And one of those shorthanded was a penalty shot.
Dude, wild. Wild. What a PK. What a power play, man. What a power play.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't... I expected a little bit of this because of how young the team is. No, like, I think going in, there were maybe, like, 6 or 7 Devils that actually had, like, playoff experience. They're just that young. Vanacek, I wasn't expecting him to be this nervous. And it was nice to have Schmidt with the Rangers do what he did, but I guess that was like a one-hit wonder kind of thing because this series has not been the greatest.
Has not been. Now, I look at Carolina, I see the team that, this is the team I looked at where it's sort of like the second-round team. But now they might actually make it out of the second round. They're 1 win away. AJ, moving over to you. So, like, I don't know where you're about to take this Devils take, if you're going to reverse psychology this thing or not. So let's just... here's the surprise, everybody.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think there's been a lot of likes about this series. I think there's been a ton. Carolina's playing well. They're playing fast, physical. They're putting the Devils in an absolute blind. Lindy Ruff has no idea where to go when it comes to goaltending whatsoever. You have a rookie goaltender with the gun after you're down 2-0 in the first round to the Rangers. Is your absolute saving grace, is the reason you're here. And after he has 2 stinkers in Carolina, which, if you don't know, Carolina's one of the hardest places to play in the postseason, especially in the Eastern Conference. Who does he go right back to? The same goaltender who got bum rushed in games 1 and 2 versus the Rangers. And guess what happened? Game 3. Yeah, his offense played great and his team played okay in front of him. Allowed 3 shorties. 4 goals behind him. And then in game 4, absolute bum rush. Not even close. Beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. But you know what I've been doing this, and this is something I've learned about the Devils, right? The last 6 months, I've been sitting up here just ripping the Devils to shreds. I have been called the Breaking the Ice avid Devils hater. Avid Devils hater. I have lost 2 bets. I have been made a fool, run amok, led astray, to quote Stephen A. It has not been good for me. And every time I rip on the Devils, you know what they do? Take a guess.
They win games.
They win hockey games. So, why am I doing this? Why am I ripping on them after they're now down 3-1? Here's the answer. Because truth be told, I want them to win this series. I really do. I want them to win this series, and I want them to advance further.
Play the Florida Panthers!
And nothing would bring me more joy than to see the Devils win the Eastern Conference.
Oh, man.
Go to the Stanley Cup and get bum rushed in the Stanley Cup.
By which Western Conference team?
I don't care. I wouldn't care. Preferably the Kraken, because they have 3 former Penguins on that team, so
okay.
It'd be nice. But don't care. But I just want to bring something up. One more thing. So, on this crew of Breaking the Ice, we have 2 popular Devils fan pages that are on this show. Devils Report and Devils Fanatics.
This is the Instagram clip.
Devils Fanatics, I've had my beef with him. The first bet I lost, he came in here wearing an Ottawa Senators jersey. Didn't even have the stones to rep his team. If you want to know more about that, check it out on the YouTube if you want to. You can go back and see that episode.
It's in there somewhere. It's in there. I don't know which episode it might have been, but it's in there.
My beef is with Devils Report.
Oh, okay.
Here's where it is. So your team is in the second round of the playoffs, right? Your team's just getting smashed in Game 4. You know what this dude does when he runs a fan page? He runs a page to deliver content to his followers. Yo, guess what he sends me a picture of? He's watching the Mets game.
Oh.
He's watching the Mets game. He's not even watching the third period. He quit on his own team. He quit on the Devils. He quit on the franchise that he provides content to for his followers. And for that, I would even say that's worse than Devils fanatics. I would say that's worse coming in here repping an Ottawa Senators jersey. Why? Because at least, A, we're a radio show, so he was able to cover it up with a sweatshirt. It wasn't on the Instagram. But people could have called me a liar. All good, right? Cool. Devils report. He did that. He was disingenuous to his followers.
Yo.
To his followers. Listen, if you are one of the leaders, one of the bigger people in a fan base, right? You can't bail on your team in the playoffs, bro. You can't do it. You can't. You got to stick that game through. You got to watch that to the end of the third period, and you got to be ready to deliver the message that we can rally back. We can win 3 straight. Let's go Devils. Woo, to quote Justin.
You need a presence, because even if there's like a loss like that, and then you post like, oh yeah, like, all right, Devils lose, that's where all the Devil fans go then to rant about the team. They need somewhere to just vent.
And can I tell you something? How many Devils fans do you think turned off that game in the third period?
What was the score in the third?
It was 6-1.
It was 6-1 by the third.
How many people do you think turned off that game?
There was a bunch of videos of everyone leaving the arena already.
You can't do that if you're a content creator.
No,
because when those fans come to you, you gotta be good cop. You got to be the person that hypes them back up and gets them ready to go back in the fire for Game 5. Because you're do or die now. You lose, this season's over.
Dude, he posted that video of Frank. It was so funny.
I couldn't believe it when I saw it. It was one of the more insane things that you could do if you run a social media page. And you want to know the greatest part about that game?
The Mets were losing too, right?
Yeah. Well, but you want to know the part even better about that Mets game? Guess what they did?
What did they do?
They lost the baseball game.
Yeah.
They lost
the baseball game.
They lost the baseball game.
Hope it was worth it.
I was like 7-6 to the Reds.
It was the game where Buck Showalter got ejected for his first time as a Mets manager because of an interference call.
Nice.
So I hope it was worth it. And next week I'm not going to be here, but I will be listening.
Oh, for the rebuttal.
I will be listening. And if he comes in here and is like, especially if the Devils go on and complete the 3-1 series comeback, I don't want to hear squat. I don't want to hear nothing.
See, but who would you rather prefer against Florida in the finals?
Okay, so they played the Devils good all season, so I genuinely take them. Genuinely. The Canes, they played good once, played pretty poorly against otherwise, and 2 years ago, bro, they could not beat Carolina. I just feel like they have their number. But the Devils, they have found ways to beat. Like, it just seems like they always figure that one out. So I'll take either, but I never want to do which team would you take, because I'll take anybody. I wanted Tampa, honestly, instead of Toronto. I wanted the Florida Panthers to be the team to beat Tampa Bay, but they couldn't. But yeah, I'll take the Devils. It'd make the content for this show out of this world also. It'd make it way better than Canes Cats. So I'd take the Devils for sure. That's the team I want to win the series. But it looks like right now, I'm going to be honest, I'm saying Canes in 6.
Devils in 7.
Oh.
See, I see why he's saying that.
Devils in 7. I want this run to continue. I would say, you know what I want with the Devils? I want them to go to the Stanley Cup Final and get bum rushed. Nothing would make me more happy.
See, but who in the West would even bum rush them?
The Edmonton Oilers.
We were like the best team against the West all year.
The Kraken. And
I
the
think
Stars will
I
all
think
bum rush them.
we lost like less than 5 games against the West. Don't quote me on that, but like
Ooh, okay.
we did
Don't
great
quote the
against
Monclarian editor.
assistant editor, but we did great against the West. So even if we do make it out,
Regular season.
I'm not
is a
too
different
worried
story.
about the West.
Okay. So, what's the series ended in, Matteo?
I mean, I have to say, Devils in 7.
Hey!
Yeah, he agrees with me. He agrees with me.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, quick disclaimer: if the Devils lose tomorrow, even though I want them to lose in the Cup, we still go party, baby.
Yes, sir. You already know. So, everyone's hopped on the Cats wagon. Tanner saw me today, said Cats at 4, Cats for the Cup. He's hopped on the wagon. Everyone's hopped on the wagon.
Now we on the Kraken wagon.
The Kraken wagon is equally as impressive, honestly. So, like, that's
sure.
also... Those are the two impressive ones. There was no other first-round upsets. Every favored team won in the first round except for Cats Kraken. Those were the two teams that was like, whoa, where did they come from? And now in the second round here, let's just move on over now. Let's go Western Conference type stuff. Let's talk about it. We got Kraken Stars now taking care of the business. Game 1 of the Kraken Stars series. First off, we all love seeing the Kraken in the second round. I think the Kraken are a very well-liked team. You know what I mean? Like, Vegas people hate. Kraken, though, people like. They're the new team. Vegas is the bad new guys, and Kraken is the good new guys. This series, everyone... Dallas is also... I think people want to see Dallas. You know what I mean? I think this is a situation where both teams are well-respected. So, like, there's not, like, going to be, like, for example, Edmonton, Vegas. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like people love McDavid, but I feel like they also want to see Edmonton lose, and everyone wants to see Vegas lose. So that's like the evil series, and we got the good series on this side. Kraken Stars, Game 1, down to the wire, overtime winner from Yanni Gord. Good win, and it keeps them moving hot. Then Dallas comes in and wins on a pretty solid effort there. You had Wyatt Johnston score, you had Dadonov score, Pavelski, Seguin, and Pavelski's 4-goal game was, I believe, that Game 1 where they lost in overtime. And then you have Game 3. It's a Seattle Kraken touchdown. They go up 2-1, and then last night, the Stars win with a touchdown of their own, 6-3. So I don't know where this series is going or who's going to win it, but I have a feeling everyone I know wants the Kraken to win, and they keep having the leg up in this series. But this one's going 7, I think. And I feel like I'm going to go with the Kraken themselves.
I'm going to go, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go Kraken, but I'm going to take them in 6. The reason why, I think Dallas is a deeper team. They're a more complete team. But the Kraken are a faster team. They're a more skilled team. They're a team that they're hotter. They're playing with house money. It's their first time in the playoffs. If they get eliminated second round, still fine, and they can go home heads high. With to have a big free agency, have Shane Wright with a come up next year, who's after a year of development down in the minors, he'll be fine.
Poor Shane Wright, man. He had his 1 year of being the hot prospect, and now here comes Connor Bedard. Oh, we'll talk about the draft too. Don't even worry about that.
I would say he'll be good because he'll be a nice second, third line center next year for them. They'll have a big free agency and they'll be back. The thing for Dallas is this is now like their second, third time as a core in the playoffs. They need to get it done. They need to slay this dragon. They need to beat Seattle. The West is wide open, and this is their year. If they're with this core, if they're going to go to the Cup, this is the year they're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, like, as far as both sides, this has been the only truly back and forth series of the whole play,
of the first second round
of the second round. Yeah,
I mean, Vegas, Edmonton, we haven't seen enough of, but that one's not so. This one's quite literally tied 2-2. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's 2-2, and just every other game is a new winner. Like, Seattle won the first, and Dallas, and it just kept going back and forth. But it's like funny because like every game has been so high scoring. I feel like. But it's not like they're close games.
And then 4-2. The first second game was all right, and then 7-2, 6-3.
So like, it's not like they've been like close games, obviously, but it's just the amount of goals that's been produced. And yeah, so it's exciting to see an expansion team do this good this early. I mean, Vegas went to the Cup their first year,
Yeah, but like I don't know, it's different with Vegas because like Seattle they did a good expansion. You know what I mean? Vegas just kind of they got too much at the start there.
Yeah, they didn't execute like how much they were allowed to get.
Oh, they went to the Cup in their first year of
Yeah,
existence.
that shouldn't happen.
Like, that should not happen.
Not at all.
Especially not at the expense of an Alexander Ovechkin championship ring, but thankfully the Caps won.
It shouldn't happen, but at the end of the day, they're a smart organization. They realized that the way the expansion draft was set up, and to the point it was still set up this way for Seattle, so I actually find it ironic that Seattle, just because they didn't get it done in their first season, like they're seen as the good guy. Cause
I see what you're saying.
Like, the draft was set up, you only were able to protect a certain amount of players. At the end of the day, you could have poached any team's second pair defenseman or middle six forward. If you wanted to. So these teams were just built up with either young, exciting players from that they could take from the other team that was playing in the middle six, or they were to fill it up with a veteran. Like, these teams did not start with they set these expansion drafts up for a reason. They didn't want these two teams to come in here and then be stuck in a 5-year rebuild. Like, they wanted these teams to come in here and be competitive. Like, there's a reason for this. And I just find it shocking that people think, like, oh my God, I can't believe Vegas made it so far in the Cup. Yeah, their roster was good. Because it was set up to be good.
I mean, it was the first expansion draft in 17 years at that time?
Yeah.
So, it'd been a while since they've had to, do something like that, so they probably...
And I'm not Albert Einstein, but, if you give me a draft where I could take a middle six forward or a top 4 defenseman from every team, I'm gonna be able to build a solid group. And if I have a smart analytical department, I have a smart coaching staff, I could take that group and elevate it. They were able to steal guys like Jared McCann, in the middle six from on Pittsburgh. He's now a top line forward. They're able to steal guys like Justin Schultz. He's now a top pairing defenseman. They're able to draft a guy like Matty Beniers because They did stink their first year. It happens.
They were a bottom 5 team.
It happens. Vegas drafted a team to be competitive right away, and it worked. But they drafted a bunch of veterans, but Seattle drafted a team with a bunch of young guys that they could develop, and it ended up working. These teams were so set up to where it wasn't going to take 5 years. It was going to take maybe 2, and the fact that one team's seen as the good guy and one team's seen as the rival, to me, is insane.
Yeah, it's kind of early to kind of do that yet. I feel like with both teams.
Sure.
Oh, I don't think it's because of the team necessarily. I think it's specifically as far as Vegas's hate stems from things that they can't control. I know I following fan pages, they found Vegas social media annoying. Their social media presence. They found unbearable social media pages, and also the fans, because the fans watched a team that went to the playoffs for 4 straight seasons, 4 straight years to start their franchise. Cup final in the first year.
That's true.
Playoffs, and then 2020, I don't remember. 2021 they went to the Western Conference Finals. So they got this watch that. And so the fans, they
don't know what it's like.
They didn't know that. I think that's the big thing that people they didn't hate Vegas, but they hated the Vegas fans and the people who ran the accounts.
The fans need some humbling.
Last year I'm looking at NHL fan pages. Everybody's rooting against Vegas. I remember, who did they play in the first round? Dallas, right? Was it the first or second round? They got knocked out. They missed the playoffs last year, right? They missed the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
So some of the final games at the end of the regular season, one of them I remember was Dallas, right? All the fan pages of all these random teams, everyone had Dallas Stars profile pictures because the whole entire NHL online community was rooting for them to win that game, so Vegas would miss the playoffs. And their next game after that, everyone changed their profile pictures again, I think to the Rangers, because I think it was Rangers Vegas, because they just wanted to see them lose so bad. When it finally happened, they were like, yes, the fans finally understand what it's like to be a real sports fan. So I don't think it's Vegas is the bad guys because of themselves, but it's specifically just because of the fan base. Because everyone loves Logan Thompson. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and they got some good players. Chandler Stevenson, big good guy. You know, they got some good players who've genuinely grown from them, like Vegas grown. But they're not going to be hated for too much longer. You know, I think fans just wanted to see them get their first playoff series miss. First time. And now it's like, okay, they've been initiated as an NHL team now that they've missed the playoffs for the first time.
I mean, I think part of it's also like with Edmonton, I think it's about time we see McDavid win something.
We need that too, yeah. They're down 2-1 right now. Let's go transition. Simple. Kraken. So what'd you guys? I said Kraken in 7. You said Kraken in 6. Mateo, what's your thought?
I'll go Kraken in 7. I think it'll keep going back and forth.
Dallas. Sorry, Dallas. At Jason Robertson, it's not your year. Moving on now. Final series of the playoffs. We got the Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights. Battle for the Pacific Division title. There were 2 of the best players on Edmonton and Draisaitl and McDavid on one team. And then on Vegas, we got Jonathan Quick tending the goal. 2-1 Vegas lead thus far. We saw some chippiness with Evander Kane already in this series. You know, we've seen the memes left and right. But this series, the last 2 games have been blowouts. And we got game 4 tonight in that series. First game, 4-6 Vegas win. And all the goals, there was 5 goals in the first period. It was legitimately like 3-2. Second period score saw no goals. And Edmonton tied it real quick, but Vegas just scored 2 goals in 1 minute. And then the Oilers Draisaitl got another goal. He scored, I believe, 4 goals in this game, and they lost. What's with these 4-goal performances that ending in a loss for these players? I feel bad, but Vegas came away with the win. But in Game 2, Edmonton came crazy. McDavid scored a shorthander. Draisaitl scored 2. McDavid ended up with 2 goals himself. And Barbashev scored, but it was way too late. It's the start of the third period. 5-1 defeat. And then it switched scores. 3-1. In Game 3, it was 5-1 Vegas. Marchessault scored 2 goals. Whitecloud, Eichel, Chandler Stevenson, and Edmonton just got blown out. We saw, Evander Kane we had a little chippiness moment at the end of the game. How do y'all like this series so far? The Pacific title between Vegas and Edmonton.
To me, this is just a battle of a more complete team in Vegas versus a more top-heavy team in Edmonton. And are McDavid and Draisaitl going to be able to carry the load? And so far, we've seen through 3 games that Vegas is dominating the series. They're dominating the series with it's crazy that I have to say this. Connor McDavid needs to be better. He needs to.
Never in a million years would this sentence have ever been said, but here it is, guys.
He needs to be better. He's not playing like the hard player that he is. Hey, yo! Like, with that, Leon Draisaitl right now is easily the best player has been the best player on the Oilers this playoffs. And he needs to step it up.
It's not just about him stepping it up, but, like, at the same time, you can't have... I mean, I know they do it easily in the regular season, but you can't have McDavid and Draisaitl just carry the team throughout the playoffs. You need some other guys to kind of do something.
You need Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to step up, and Evan Bouchard, and Kane.
I would say you need your 13-goal with an Evander Kane. You need your Evan Bouchard to be able to rip clappers from the blue line on the power play. You need guys like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Yamamoto to be able to move the puck. Like, you need guys like Warren Fogle to be able to step it up on the fourth line. Like, of which we get all that.
And you need all-star goaltender Stuart Skinner.
Yeah, and we get all that, but at the end of the day, like, McDavid and Draisaitl was what's going to make this team go. And if one of those two aren't performing, like, can you really expect anything else from the other guys? Like, you can't.
But also, you go back to goaltending. Like, everyone's talking about, like, Vanacek with the Devils, how he's giving up 5 goals a game, 6 goals a game here. But same with Edmonton. They're giving up the same amount. They gave up 6 goals in the first game and then 5 in the next.
Well, I feel like that's also being talked about fairly. Like, Edmonton has sprinkled in a little bit of Jack Campbell in these playoffs. Like, I guarantee if you go up north of the border, they're definitely talking about this just as much as they're talking about the Devils down here. Like, Edmonton,
I guess you're right. Yeah.
We do have to understand Edmonton is in Canada. Like, more the focus, and we also live in the Northeast. We live in Jersey. We live like around like these areas. Like, of course, we're going to be talking about the Devils more. But I get your point.
So now with this series at only 2-1, we still got a lot of hockey left to see. What are our series predictions for the Pacific Division Championship here?
I'm going to stay with my cup winners. I'm gonna still have Edmonton in 7, but this is a desperation game for them. They need this win.
The way it's going right now, I think I'll go Vegas in 6.
I believe in the Oilers to win one more. I'm with AJ. Edmonton Oilers in 7. I feel like they can get the job done because all it takes is McDavid to start clicking, and it's just going to change. Like, that's a big change. You know what I mean?
I hope I'm wrong, but, like, that's my prediction.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, it feels like we're pretty split on the. We don't know where to go on these series other than, like, Canes, Devils, Cats, Leafs. Like, it is Leafs elimination day after all, guys. And if I'm wrong, then oops, we'll just wait another couple days. But, like, hoping it's today. But that's been the playoffs thus far. But, Matteo, since it's your debut, I mean, out of the... I'm assuming, like, how have you liked this season as a whole thus far as a Devils fan?
Oh, as a whole, I feel like you couldn't have asked for anything else. Like, it was literally one of the most historic seasons that they've ever had. You go from last year, you had the second overall pick in the NHL draft. You were a bottom 3 team. To this year, I think they either tied or set the record for the biggest turnaround in points. They had like a plus, what was it, like 62 or like 63?
62.
Something like that.
Let me look it up.
And yeah, it's been a rebuild with how we've had like 3 top 5 picks in the past 6 or 7 years. But I mean, it's been a quick rebuild. I mean, here we are in the Eastern Conference semifinals. After last year, like I said, we just had the second overall pick, so I feel like you couldn't really ask for any more. Jack Hughes, 1 point away from a 100-point season. I mean, he was just on fire all season. You couldn't ask for anything else from him. Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt each had 30-goal seasons, and then the addition of Meyer I just wish a lot of that, like what happened in the regular season, clicked in the playoffs, but unfortunately, because even Vanacek had a 30-win season. Only other goalie to do that was Brodeur. So, like, in terms of the regular season, not much more you can ask for. But
so the Devils had 63 points.
3 points, all right.
So that means they were 112 points. No, they had 63 points last year. So, with 112, the turnaround is 49, I believe.
49, okay.
49-point turnaround. Yeah, 60 is a lot, bro. That's legitimately like 30 wins.
No, yeah. That's what the number I was thinking is 60. The points we had last year.
63 last year. So yeah, that's pretty much that's the deal here. That's the deal. The NHL playoffs, second round, and some of these series are probably gonna be done by the next episode 26. So let's just transition into one more thing here. A big topic: the NHL draft. The draft lottery came and went, everybody, and guess where Connor Bedard is headed? We all know it, because, well, we're assuming he gets picked first overall. But as of right now, the Chicago Blackhawks have the number 1 overall pick. Yeah! Which obviously there was a lot of controversy about, because, and essentially, like, the Blackhawks covered up that whole scandal for years, and now here they are with the number 1 pick. It's like, really interesting. But I think they were third best odds to get it, and they jumped 2 teams for it.
Mm-hmm.
Columbus and Anaheim. Where would y'all have liked to see this pick end up?
Honestly, I would have preferred Anaheim. At this point, I just feel bad for that franchise.
They were getting Adam Fantilli, who in any other draft would be the number 1 overall pick.
It would have been exciting to see.
That's true.
It would have been exciting to see Bedard with like Zegras and you got a veteran there like Henrique. But like I saw somewhere like this is the second time Anaheim's missed out. They also missed out on Crosby when he was coming up. So you just got to feel bad for them at this point.
I mean, they are getting a great prospect. For me. I just want to say this first. Like, in 10 years, this is gonna be it. This will end up being a positive for the league that Connor Bedard's in the third biggest market in the U.S. Right? Of course, it's one of the biggest hockey markets in the world for a reason. Like, they got great fans. Like, the building's electric. Like, Connor Bedard to Chicago long term is gonna be a success. Man, this sucks in the short term. Like, the fact that the Blackhawks in December of 2021 had to settle a lawsuit of a former player getting sexually assaulted by an assistant coach, and they get and like 18 months later they get the prized possession of the draft in like the last 10 years. For me, like, from a PR standpoint, that's terrible. And just from a moral standpoint, that's terrible.
It's not a good look.
No, it's not. Like, the fact that they were, like, I know on Twitter it was being blown up that the NHL draft, like, the lottery is rigged and everything. And honestly, say what you want, it's not. It's a bunch of hooey. Like, it's not rigged. But in this standpoint, I really wish it was. I wish it was. Like, if there was any team that I did not want to see Connor Bedard on, it was the Blackhawks.
It's the Blackhawks.
It's the Blackhawks.
I mean, you just moved on from, like, the Jonathan Toews, Patrick Kane era, and now here you have Bedard coming in. Like,
not even that. It's just from a moral standpoint. Like, I don't want, like, for an organization that's so cruddy like the Blackhawks, like,
right, no,
it's hard for me on a moral standpoint to see them they're gonna be able to get the prize possession, right? It leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and I couldn't imagine being that player, like, and watching
Kyle Beach.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being him and seeing the Blackhawks, like, be able to get Connor Bedard. Now everyone's talking about they have one of the brightest futures in the league, which they do. They have a disgusting amount of draft capital. They have 6 first-round picks in the next 3 years, 8 second-round picks. Like, they're going to be able to turn this franchise around fairly quickly now. I hate it. I hate it on so many levels, and I wish it just didn't happen.
Well, the luck of the draw in the lottery. Now, I saw the draft lottery numbers, right? Was one number off of Vancouver. They were so close to getting it.
I would have rather him gone anywhere else.
Vancouver,
as much as I hate the Canucks, rather that.
Vancouver is Bedard's hometown. So, or he's I don't know if it's a hometown, but that's the closest team to where he grew up.
Yeah, he grew up a Canucks fan.
So, but as the draft lottery goes, let's do the whole lottery. So, 16th, the Calgary Flames, which I find funny because, dude, they were supposed to make the playoffs, right, AJ?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like, when you make that trade for Huberdeau and Weegar, like, yeah, you're doing that to win now. Like, when you sign Kadri, you're doing that to win now.
Man, what a man! Bill Zito is like,
and
incredible.
They just didn't perform. They didn't perform. They got Sutter fired, and now they're stuck at 16 where they belong. They're the definition of mid.
The definition of mid. Hey,
they're the definition of mid. They're right in the.
They had the most overtime losses in the league last year, dude. Yeah.
They're right in the middle, which is the place you do not want to be in sports. You either want to be at the top or you want to be at the bottom, and they deserve it.
The middle is where once you're in the middle, you, like any sport, you stay there for like years.
Yeah.
Like, if you're bad, okay, then yeah, in the draft you'll get like a top pick, and that'll help you get higher and higher. If you're on top, you just stay on top.
Mm-hmm.
But like in the middle, you have no room really to move.
Now, Calgary picking 16, Nashville picking 15. UC Saros and Roman Josi, they tried to make the playoffs this year. They were close. They genuinely won as many games as Florida. So, like, they were close. They would have made it in the Eastern Conference. However, cookie doesn't crumble that way. Now they're picking 15th, and maybe they can make something out of it. Who knows? They made the playoffs last year. You never know with them. But the Pittsburgh Penguins, we got to talk about them. They're picking 14.
I mean,
thoughts on this pick?
They can go one of two ways, and it's going to depend on who they hire as their GM and the president of hockey ops. They have one they have an asset they haven't had in a long time, a pick in the top 15, right? They can go one of two ways. A, they can move the pick for a player that's going to help them right now. And in a draft this is going to be one of the deepest drafts, especially at the top in a while. The 14th pick in this draft, in most drafts, it would feel the equivalent of a top 10 pick. Like you're getting a top 10 talent. So you can either move the pick for a player that's going to help you right now, which I think they're going to do, or they can make the pick and help try and jump their future, which they have one of the 5 worst farms in the league. Right? It's all going to depend on who they hire. If it were me, as much as it would pain me, I would make the pick. I would keep the pick and I'd make it. Why? Because eventually it's going to go against the grain of what's the entire plan of the offseason last year, signing guys, signing your Malkins, your Letang's back and everything, all your free agents around the 3 years left on Crosby's contract. Life's going to go on after. When you look up and down the East, even if they were to move this pick and have an offseason where they have over $20 million in cap, let's say they were to have like the perfect offseason, right? And be able to, but they move this pick for a player that's going to help them. You still have Boston to deal with next year, they're going to be they're going to be worse. They're going to be a fringe 100-point team, but you still have to deal with them. You have to deal with Toronto, Tampa, Carolina, Devils, Rangers, who all aren't going anywhere. You got to deal with the Panthers, who are not going anywhere. The Islanders are still a thorn in your side. Buffalo's going to be better. Ottawa could be better. Detroit, they could be better. Washington, I don't think they will be, but they're still going to be competitive. Like, it's not a guarantee. It's not like the East is wide open. If I were them, I would start preparing for life after 87.
If they weren't going to make the pick, what would you want for it?
Either a top sixer, pair that with a player to get another guy in the top 6. If they're not going to bring back Jason Zucker, another defenseman, or my preference, go trade for a Saros or a Hellebuck. Like, goaltending was the main issue with that. If you're looking at a pure roster standpoint, the issues on the Penguins went way beyond the roster last year. But if you look from a pure roster standpoint, even more than the bottom 6, the biggest issue that derailed the Pittsburgh Penguins was goaltending. So if they can use that pick to go get a goaltender that's not like a feather, like Tristan Jarry, they'll be better. But I don't know if I want to move that pick for a win now guy. Like, if I don't know I'm going to be a contender. And but it would take the perfect offseason with no mistakes for this team to be a contender next year. And I'm going to go on the lines of new front office, probably not happening. That's probably a safe bet.
Okay, I hear you. So now, going through the rest of the order, Buffalo picks 13. Arizona Coyotes, with their trade with the Senators, pick 12, because that's Ottawa's pick. Vancouver takes 11 instead of 1. Heartbreak for them. The Blues get a top 10 pick. I didn't know they were far down. Then it go Detroit rounds it out. The Capitals have a top 8 pick. Pick number 8 to join the guy that wears number 8. Ovi going on his chase to pass Wayne Gretzky in goals. Will he get there, guys? Will he get there?
Yes, I think he will, because I think he'll play long enough to get there.
Okay.
He doesn't need that many more, right?
Let me check it out. So, let's see. How many goals?
I think it's like around...
Ovechkin has in his... Oh, that's not a career number. That's like... Okay, he's 94 behind Gretzky. Okay. That might have been an old article as well. So, hold on. Let's see how many he needs right now. So, Ovechkin in his career has dropped 822 goals. All right? Wayne Gretzky, career goals, is, I believe, for some reason, the number 894 sticks in my head. It is 894. So, he's like 72 away.
Yeah, that's maybe not within the next season, obviously.
No, yeah. But At
Give
least
it
3, yeah.
3, it's very possible.
And he's not. It's not like he's playing bad. He's still
no,
OV.
he's still, yeah.
So he's still OV. He can still make the moves happen, and that could be a huge draft pick for them there. Rounding out that, the Flyers pick 7. Arizona has 2 top 12 picks. They have pick number 6 and 12. So that's good for them because Ottawa made the trade. I believe with Chikrin there. Was that where Chikrin went? Ottawa?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So then Montreal picks 5. Sharks pick 4. Blue Jackets and Johnny Hockey at 3. Anaheim at 2. Chicago gets at 1. So we'll see how this draft turns out. But the last thing I want to get into here, I believe the NHL award nominees were released for all the superlatives in the regular season. I want everybody's thoughts on, just like the awards and what we've seen thus far. So I believe we've seen the Norris candidates and everything is out there. So Jack Adams Award. Dave Haxtell, Jim Montgomery, Lindy Ruff. Who's who's vote for everybody here? Oh God, AJ's just looking right over.
No. As much as I want to say Dave Haxtell, I think all 3 of these guys are well deserving. When you have a team that was maybe could have made the playoffs in the preseason last year, a team that was thought of hey, they could sneak in. But when you take a 63-point team to a 112-point team, when you jump 49 points, you did a good job. You did a good job, and for that, and also winning a playoff series, versus a team that made 2 of the biggest deadline moves.
It's so sad that the playoffs don't count towards this stuff, but yeah.
And other than the Bruins, the Rangers were the team that went the most all in this year, and they took them down.
Is this another reverse psychology?
No,
moment?
no. This one's not. This one's genuinely not. I would give Lindy Ruff to Jack Adams. I think
I'd do it too because listen, I think playoffs, man, they got to play some sort of part. And Jim Montgomery's collapse in the first round. Not that it will matter, but you just led the best regular season team ever. You made some good trades, but they faltered at the end there. And Haxtell's cool too. It's between Haxtell and Ruff for me. It's really hard to choose. But yeah, the 49-point turnaround is wicked. The playoff series win is wicked. But it's a regular season award, so you have to look at it that way. They finished second in the division, where Seattle finished a wild card spot. So I feel like that's going to get overlooked there. So it's going to come down between Montgomery and Ruff, and I'm going to say it also goes to Ruff. Yeah, the huge turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, not that this has to do with who wins, but you had Devil fans literally chanting the first 3 games, "Fire Lindy" at every game. Until they went on that 13-game heater, and then they started chanting, "Sorry, Lindy." I mean, he did. It was in the beginning of the season. People thought it would be the same story as last season for the Devils, another 64-point season. But no, he turned them around this year. He saw the young potential that they had, and he turned a 63-point team into a playoff team. So I think he does deserve it the most out of these 3. It's just going to be hard to beat someone who did literally have
133 points.
Yeah,
ever.
exactly.
So moving on from there, Norris Trophy, guys. The finalists: Adam Fox, Erik Karlsson, Cale Makar. Karlsson dropped 100 points. That's mine.
I was going to say the same thing.
I mean, Karlsson dropped 100 points, but the qualifications of winning the Norris is literally being the best all-around defenseman. And Erik Karlsson was bottom 5 percentile in every single defensive metric possible.
He's just extra forward.
Yeah. Erik Karlsson dropped 100 points, right? And as a defenseman, that's crazy. Adam Fox dropped 73 and was was probably the best defensive defenseman in the league. I don't even think it's close. I think it's clearly Adam Fox. When you think of the Norris, you think of the best overall defenseman, and
I hear you, but I hope they actually vote that way. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, they're not, but it's going to be Erik Karlsson. But I'm just telling you what I would vote for, and that's.
I agree with you. It's just an offensive number, the points you put up, but your defense. That's why Makar won last year. He didn't lead the defenseman in points. You know what I mean? He's the best all-around defenseman. Victor Hedman when he was doing his thing. So I agree. It should be Adam Fox, but the league might give it to Karlsson. But what do you feel, Matteo?
Yeah, Karlsson's obviously the bigger name here, just because of the 100 points, but I agree it should go to like someone like Fox, who's just had a better defensive. Because if you're gonna award someone best defender, it shouldn't be based on how many points they have.
And now we'll move on here to the Calder Trophy, the Rookie of the Year in the NHL. Matty Beniers, Owen Power, Stuart Skinner. Stuart Skinner was an all-star, but he platoons. This is hard, man. It's between. I feel like Matty Beniers got hurt. What do you guys think? This is really tough, but I'm gonna genuinely. I feel like Matty Beniers got injured. Correct? That happened this season. Am I wrong for thinking that?
No,
Did he get hurt?
a little bit.
Okay,
So
so
not a major injury. He wasn't out that long of time.
this is tough, but I mean, I feel like Skinner getting the All-Star nod, but even though it was an easy goaltender division,
I would give it to Beniers.
I feel like I'd do the same.
Played
Between
more-
those two, not Owen Power.
Played
but
more
like,
minutes. He was a viable part of that top six. Like he was a very, very, very valuable part.
and he's
of
still
that
in the
team.
playoffs.
He's in that. He's in the playoffs. Without Matty Beniers, you could make the and I wouldn't agree with this, but you could make the argument that that Seattle's not a playoff team. Without Stuart Skinner, Edmonton would have been fine. They would have been fine. Like
Jack Campbell. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Jack Campbell's not great. Jack Campbell's actually he's more terrible than good. But they would have found a way to sneak in. Like without Matty Beniers, without a top six, with a top two center, like probably not in the playoffs. I'll give it to Beniers. Rest my case.
Yeah, I agree. I think Beniers takes it because it's also the fact that like a rookie also joining like a brand new team, like not everyone on the team probably is still like the chemistry is probably still building and everything. So it's a little difficult to perform well in that environment, I think. So just the fact that what he's done this season, I think he probably deserves it the most out of the three.
As you're listening to Breaking the Ice on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. This is top of the hour. So we're going through the NHL award nominees here. So that was the Calder Trophy. So now the Selke. Barkov won this award a couple years ago. We got a familiar face. Patrice Bergeron, I believe, won it last year. Patrice Bergeron is now a candidate again. And we got Nico Hischier and Mitch Marner. Boys, who is the best defensive forward in the league this season? What are your thoughts? We got Bergeron, Nico Hischier, Mitch Marner.
I mean, you know who I want to
Hey.
say, but
I think I'm gonna go Mitch Marner on this one. Honestly, he had a crazy defensive season.
I was
doing
going to
work.
go Bergeron, honestly.
Bergeron back to back.
I'm gonna go Hischier.
Oh boy, we're split around this one now. Now, why would you explain yourselves on this one? Give me your synopsis.
I would go Hischier. I think he can guard more, but like as much as Patrice Bergeron's a great with the defensive forward, one of the best of all time in that regard. I think Nico Hischier's got more legs under him. He can defend more parts of the ice at this point in his career. He was taking on teams number ones and just completely shutting them down all year. Like you could not bump the puck up hot with that. You could not bump the puck up ice when it was deep, in deep on the Devils when Hischier was on the ice. It was a turnover and an easy clear almost every time the puck was dumped into the high slot. So from that, I would give it to Nico. I think but in this, I wouldn't argue with any of the three of the finalists.
Last one here now. We got the Lady Byng Memorial Trophy. Jack Hughes, Anze Kopitar, Braden Point. And what's this trophy? I cannot remember exactly what this one is. Let me look it up real quick.
I got it here if you want.
Well, it's the player. So it's like the sport. It's like the Walter Payton Man of the Year award for the NHL. It's like, well, not necessarily, but it's the player to have exhibited the best type of sportsmanship and conduct. So is it Jack Hughes? It's not Braden Point because he's a Lightning player, so it's not possible. So Anze Kopitar or Jack Hughes, guys?
I'll give it to Kopitar.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what exactly Hughes has done, and like he never caused any problems with anyone on the ice. But
I hear that.
I don't think he's like really gone out of his way for anything. I mean, luckily playoffs don't count because you saw like that fight he had with Aho in what was it, Game 3?
Yeah, I hear you. So now, I don't believe they've released any. Oh no! Wait, hold up. So there's also the Bill Masterton Award, which is the player who best exemplifies the quality. It's another sportsmanship award, and that's Clayton Keller, Chris Letang, and Alex Stalock. But we're all waiting on the Hart Memorial Trophy, and which is the MVP of the NHL, and they have not released the finalists yet. So, boys, we have reached the end of our journey here today on Breaking the Ice. Thank you guys for joining me, because if we didn't have Matteo, it'd just been me and AJ in here. So, appreciate your appearance on the show today. And, Cats in 4, any last words you guys want to say before we get ready?
Go Devs.
I hope you guys enjoyed listening to us this semester without these last two, and it's going to be more coming in the summer.
It's going to be more coming in the summer. We're switching. We're not sure the time yet, but we'll let you guys know. This has been Breaking the Ice Spring 2023. Signing off, I'm Connor Cupen, here with Matteo Macolino and AJ Chasan. Have a great summer, everybody.